So, this is the 11-inch 2018 iPad Pro, and almost 6 months after it came out, it is still the fastest tablet on the market. And no, I'm not counting the Surface because that's just a laptop that breaks in half. However, in some instances, it might actually be better to have a laptop rather than something like this. So let's talk about that. So this is the 2018 iPad Pro about 6 months after it came out, and it is still a phenomenal tablet. It is one of the best tablets I have ever used, if not the best tablet I've ever used. So the 11-inch iPad Pro from 2018 is where the big design changes came through for Apple. So because of the fact that they got rid of the forehead and chin and got rid of the home button, they were able to take the same or roughly the same size iPad and stretch out the screen while keeping the physical size the same. So you still get that comfortable 10.5-inch iPad feel with more screen real estate. Now this is their liquid retina display that they used on this, which I guess, sure, go ahead and name it. All it really means is that the corners are curved and it's kind of edge to edge. It's not actually edge to edge because you kind of need bezels to grip. Speaking of holding, they squared off the edges, which I actually like. It makes it a lot easier to hold, and it is significantly lighter and thinner. It's actually the thinnest iPad they've ever made. Now, with the fact that they made it thinner, one of my first questions is, how's the battery life? And it's great. It will last you easily an entire day, and if you scatter your uses out throughout the day, it will literally go for several days at a time. This will normally get you about a 10-hour straight battery life, and from the use that I give it, that's about correct. My concern after that would be something like the speakers, and nope, they're actually better than the last set of speakers. I guess because they use the body of the tablet as more of a diaphragm for the low end, it just has a bit more clarity. And of course, with it being thinner, does it bend? Sure, it'll bend if you snap it over your knee or decide to throw it in a backpack against a soccer ball, but I've had this tablet now from the day that it came out, and I have yet to bend it. I've yet to have any bending issues. It's straight as an arrow, and considering that it only took about, oh gosh, maybe 4 whole months before people started even noticing that their tablets were bent, thinness, whatever, it's fine. Now, by making the screen bigger, they got rid of the forehead and chin, and by doing that, they got rid of the home button, which had your fingerprint reader. So they switched over to Face ID, which in this one is actually even better than what they have on the iPhones. This Face ID actually works in literally any orientation, and at some pretty extreme angles as well. I've had it sitting on a desk, kind of just glancing at it, and I've woken it up and it'll unlock for me. It's kind of impressive, and I wish that they would actually take that technology and put it into the iPhone, because I'll hold my iPhone sideways and it won't unlock because it doesn't have that, but the iPad does. One of the other improvements is the way that it actually talks and connects with its accessories. Now, it does have a more basic accessory set, like the Folio, which is magnetic. In fact, all of these accessories that I use are magnetic. So you can clip it to the back of the tablet and it just stays there, and it holds by a magnet. You don't have to press it into any sort of corner grips or anything like that. It just stays. And the array of magnets they have is actually very, very strong. Like, check it out. I can literally hang the tablet by the magnets. It's pretty awesome. And, of course, there's the keyboard case with the smart connector. Now, the old iPad had the smart connector along the bottom, which meant that you could really only connect it by the little hang tab that it would use to attach other accessories. But with the new keyboard, they have the pins on the inside of the case, and the iPad has the smart pins on the back of the tablet. That means that when you go to connect it, you just lay it down with those magnet arrays. It connects by centering itself fairly easily. And then with the new keyboard Folio, you also have 2 angles to type on, which is an improvement more on the side of the keyboard, not on the iPad, but still nice to have. The iPad's camera is sort of a different story with improvements. It got some improvements and then some things removed, which is kind of weird. So it has the camera straight off of something like the iPhone XR or XS, but it doesn't have the optical image stabilization. My thought on why they did this is because a lot of people, including myself, don't ever take pictures with their iPads. What they actually end up using it for is the document scanning feature, which I actually find significantly more useful than trying to take a picture or a video with my iPad. So yeah, it's weird, but I don't really mind it just because I never really took pictures with my iPad. I would edit pictures with my iPad, but I would only really use the camera for scanning documents or some AR games. And probably the biggest external improvement on this tablet is the way that it talks to the Apple Pencil. Thank God. So previously the bar was set pretty low by having to sort of plug it into the bottom of the iPad and have it kind of stick out. It just wasn't really elegant and really didn't feel like something that Apple would have designed, even though they did. The new method, on the other hand, feels very much like something Apple would design. There is a spot on the top of the iPad where it will let wireless charging through, and there are magnets alongside all the other magnets in the iPad that clip an Apple Pencil directly to the top of the iPad, meaning that you can hold it there, it's very securely held, and it will charge it, connect it, all that stuff. You don't have to do anything extra, it just works, which from a perspective of somebody who's been with Apple and done a lot of stuff with Apple products, the "it just works" tagline is something that if it doesn't have that on an Apple product, it's probably not a well-made Apple product. So yeah, no more iPad lollipop, you can actually just stick the pencil on top. And with the Apple Pencil, there were a few improvements made there as well. Some of them I use, some of them I don't. Yes, I have a skin on my iPad. I want it to look like a number 2 pencil because number 2 pencil, second generation, I thought that was funny. But either way, it actually has a tap function that allows you to switch between tools, which I almost never use because the stuff that I use it for, there's no added benefit right now. They are supposed to be opening it up to developers, but no developer has really hopped on board. So the tap function essentially works to erase stuff and then switch back to the pencil to draw things in the Notes app, and I think in Pages. That's about it. But yeah, big improvement overall with the pencil. Thank you, Apple, for finally not having it hang out of the bottom of the iPad and actually have it connect in an intelligent way. Now, getting inside the tablet and talking about the performance and why this thing is still the fastest tablet on the market, this thing is powered by the A12X Bionic chip, and this thing is a monster. Like, seriously, for the starting price of $800, this thing will easily outclass and outperform any laptop in this same price point, and it even outperforms some of the entry-level Apple laptops and some of the mid-range Surface laptops. It's ridiculous, and it has no right to be in a tablet like this, but it is, and that's just kind of Apple flexing their silicon prowess. It's pretty wild. Now, the model that I have is the 256GB model because that's really about all I need, and this model, as well as the 64 and 512 model, all come with 4GB of RAM, which is more than enough for managing storage and dealing with apps and stuff like that on an iPad, especially with iOS being as resource frugal as it is. There is, however, a model with 6GB of RAM, and that's if you have really deep pockets and want to bump it up to the terabyte model. Sure, dude, whatever floats your boat. I really think they only added the 6GB of RAM because they figured that people would probably be loading more onto it and probably doing more with bigger files, so you would need that memory. Otherwise, general photo editing and the stuff that this iPad is actually really good at, you maybe need 4GB of RAM. Maybe. As I said earlier, the battery is really good. I'll easily make my way through an entire day and barely need to charge it in the evening because most days I'll end at about 60%, maybe 50% charge, and that's through an entire day of taking it to work with me, using it on and off throughout the day, and watching videos in the evening. Now, when it comes to utilizing this power, you do have to have the right apps to do so, but with things like Lightroom or LumaFusion, this means that I can edit 4K video at about the same speed that I would edit it on any sort of mid-range laptop, and I can edit 24 megapixel raw photos straight out of Lightroom with no sort of compression. In fact, quite a few of the videos that you guys probably watched and enjoyed, which were my early Ruby reviews, were all edited on this iPad Pro. Fun fact, I bet you guys didn't know that and probably didn't care. Another one that wasn't 1080p or 4K, but still was edited on that, was the video where I did my live stream for Christmas. If you guys liked that video, that was pretty fun, and I'll leave a link to it right there, so go check it out. Yeah, that was all edited, all the tracking, all the movements were done right on the iPad, so that's how powerful this thing is. Now, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, every single one of those photos from my short-lived photo a day challenge were all edited, every single one of them right off the iPad, and it handled it like they were nothing. Those were all 24 megapixel, massive raw photos, and it handled them like it was nothing. And I think part of that is because most of the apps available for this iPad don't really fully leverage the power available on this iPad. And I guess this kind of smoothly moves us into the main problem with an iPad like this, and why I said earlier that for some things you may still be better off with a laptop. Using the photo editing for an example, this iPad has an incredibly color accurate screen, one of the best displays I have ever worked off of, short of a professional desktop monitor. This is an incredible tablet, this is an incredible screen, and the editing process is so easy. But unlike a laptop where I can plug in an SD card and just import photos directly, I have to plug in an adapter, which is fine, I'm fine with adapters. but it has to be imported into my photo gallery first. Then once it's in my photo gallery, I can move it over to the Lightroom photo gallery. Then I can start editing. And then if I want to move it back and export it, I got to re-export it and do all that. It's an extra hassle that I don't have with my laptop. Now, because of how fun the experience is for editing photos on this tablet, I'm okay with that extra step, but it is sort of a nuisance when you do have to deal with it. I kind of wish that it was just a direct import, but there is a shortcut to literally take a photo straight from there and open it in Lightroom, so I guess it's sort of getting better. But there are two things, aside from the photo editing, that do kind of make this not feasible as my daily laptop. The first thing is the File Managers app. The File Manager app on this iPad is a joke. It's a joke on any iPad, honestly. The Files app is just barely enough to manage your cloud photos and cloud documents, and when it comes to managing files on the iPad, oh, forget it. There's nothing there. It barely lets you do any sort of work off the iPad. It's expecting everything to be managed in the cloud. And the cloud file system is, it's not really that great, if I'm honest. So that right there is kind of a deal breaker for me, the fact that the File Managers app is just not that great. But the other big thing, the second and pretty much the nail in the coffin for this tablet for replacing my laptop, is the fact that it does not accept external storage. And they put a USB-C port on this thing, which I was thrilled about. And the fact that I can plug in my iPhone and have it charge, and I can import photos from my iPhone straight onto my tablet. I mean, if AirDrop didn't exist, that would be a cool feature, but being able to share a charge is really cool. I do like that. But having a USB-C port, a full-speed USB-C port, and I've plugged it into my computer, I've moved files back and forth, it's full-speed USB 3, but not giving you options for plugging in external drives, like, Apple, like, what are you doing? Like, I get it. I know that this iPad came out during iOS 12, and iOS 12 was basically a maintenance software. It wasn't really a big feature upgrade, but I feel like there should have at least been a patch to support the iPad Pro, 11 and 12.9 inch, not just say, everything's here, here's USB-C, it's literally the same as Lightning. And it is. It's literally the same as Lightning. There is no benefit to having USB-C on this iPad, where previously having Lightning on there, the video adapters, the SD card adapters, all of that stuff is exactly the same on the USB-C port for the iPad Pro as it is for the Lightning port on last generation's iPad Pro. I guess the silver lining for this is the fact that, number one, you have potential, so really all it would take would be a software update with maybe iOS 13 for them to unlock the usefulness of this really, really capable port that everything's moving to. And boy, I really hope that they do, because I think that would be really stupid if they didn't. And the other thing is that you can use pretty much any USB-C type plug without having to go with an Apple-specific one like you used to have to with the Lightning plug. Added benefit, though, is I can charge my iPad with my laptop charger, because my laptop also has USB-C, so that one port, man, that one cable, that last port, I am super, super stoked for when everything's running through that. Maybe. Who knows? It might happen, it might not. I'm really kind of hedging my bets on the fact that it will. We'll see. So at the end of the day, this iPad, for those of you who use an iPad Pro, or maybe have an iPad that's a little outdated and it's about time to upgrade, this will fit right in with everything that you were previously doing, just better. And that's kind of the best way you could possibly upgrade a product, is to have it seamlessly go right into what you were previously doing with the last version and just do the same thing, but faster and better. And I think for now that's acceptable, but especially with the ports that they're adding and the fact that they are pushing very, very heavily in their marketing that they are saying this iPad can replace your laptop, I think they really need to step up their game on the software side, which is odd because normally the software and the hardware are supposed to be well meshed, and they are, but in this instance, especially with a USB-C port, they aren't. So if any of you were wondering if maybe this tablet would be too slow to really function within the next few years, or if it's still worth it, or do you think they're going to come up with anything different or come out with anything new, I honestly think that right now, and probably for the next few years, this will be the best example of an iPad. And while a newer iPad might come out within a year or so, I really don't see this iPad suffering in any way. I think this is going to be a completely usable iPad for, at minimum, the next 4 years. And with the way Apple's software support goes, you might even get 6 years of software support, which is the biggest thing that you do not get with most other competitors, apart from Windows 10, because they seem to want to upgrade their versions of Windows into infinity and just stick with 10. I could rant about that, but with Android, you pretty much get like a year or two of software updates, and they don't even want to make tablet operating systems anymore. And so really, your options are a laptop, a Surface, which basically is a laptop, or an iPad. And depending on your workflow, you might actually be able to completely use this as your replacement for a laptop. Unfortunately, due to the video work that I do, I really can't at the moment. I'm really waiting for the day that I can, but for those of you who don't really have the same kind of demands as I do, that day might be here for you. So I hope this review helped. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any other questions, leave some comments down below. I'll be kind of active in the comments section. Let me know what you guys think about the review. I stuck with cameras for the first few days, but I went and tried to do something that I've been recording B-roll footage forever. Like seriously, the one clip that I used for the iPad photography, that was my last iPad. This is how long I've wanted to do an iPad review, and I just haven't gotten around to it. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I put a lot of work into it. And yeah, every Thursday I'm going to be trying to make a tech video, and hopefully you guys will stick around and watch. Otherwise, again, thanks for watching, guys. Leave comments, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure to be there, and have a good one. By the way, yes, I did forget to mention they did get rid of the headphone jack, but for those of you who really don't care about that, it's gone, and for those of you who do care about it, you already know your opinion. I'm not going to change it. I'm good with what I got, and yeah, anyway, no headphone jack, like, subscribe, good iPad otherwise. See you later.